Welcome to Just One More Paddle. Today I'll be reviewing my Peak UK Explorer PFD. So here it is, the Peak UK Explorer PFD. This buoyancy aid has been designed mainly for open water or sea kayaking, and Peak UK say that it is the first choice for hardened explorers or professional guides. As you can see, it's got a front zip here and a clip here and a clip at the bottom. And there's the side adjustable straps, and there's also a slot for a hydration bladder. I tend to wear my buoyancy aid pretty much every time I'm on the water because I appreciate the extra flotation. Doesn't matter where I'm paddling necessarily, and I do appreciate that somebody might need the buoyancy aid straps to hurl me out of the water if I've become unconscious. I bought this buoyancy aid in the summer because I wanted something for sea kayaking and paddleboarding out at sea with pockets, because there's quite a lot of things that I carry, things like carabiners, rescue tapes, snacks, keys. So I just wanted something with pockets, and I had heard really good things about this buoyancy aid, especially since it is a women's specific buoyancy aid. All the advice I saw online said that it really fits very well and it's won a lot of awards. So I was really excited to get this one. Unfortunately, this buoyancy aid is a bit pricey, so it comes to about £160 on the Peak UK website. I think you can find it a little bit cheaper in different shops. I found it for about £115 over the summer. So let's talk about fit of the buoyancy aid. It fits really well. You can see that there's three straps on the side, and there's a clip at the bottom, and then there's a clip at the top, so it feels very snug, which is really good. And it's very little adjustment is needed unless you are really switching between very thin, low bulk paddling gear like gym wear, or even thinner wetsuits and dry suits. So when I switch between those two, I tend to adjust a little bit on the side, and as you can see, they're quite adjusted at the moment. The side panels here are made of fabric, which is also quite comfortable, so they don't dig in, which is really nice. And these straps are really broad, so they don't really move when you're wearing them on the water while paddling. So let's talk about sizing. I'm between size 10 and size 12 UK dress size, so that's what I purchased. Peak UK have dress range sizes for women, so you can choose which one corresponds to your size. And as you can see from the side, I'm apparently at the top end of this buoyancy aid, at least on the top, which means that it's potentially going to be problematic for people who are in between sizes. So I would encourage you to look at the size guide before buying this buoyancy aid. One of the reasons I really like this buoyancy aid is because of the lower neck and the shape. So if you've capsized with a buoyancy aid, you know that it sometimes rides up and reaches your chin, even if it fits you really well. Unfortunately, that is just a shape issue and on certain bodies. So I think when I've capsized with this, it doesn't move, it doesn't ride up, which I really appreciate. And of course it's riding up now because I'm not wearing my paddling kit. Thanks to the fabric panels on the side and the fabric covering the straps, this buoyancy aid is actually really comfortable. So there's no place where my hair gets stuck because I often forget to tie it up before I put a buoyancy aid on. There's no place where the zips will get stuck or there's chafing. The shape is really good, so I've not really had problems in that department. And it looks really good. You can see the colours are really nice. They are really popular. It took me a long time to get this buoyancy aid in this colour. The other colour that's available is red and lime green. The buoyancy aid is a little bit heavy. When I pick it up, I know that I'm holding this buoyancy aid and not any other because it is a little bit heavier. But while on the water, it's very comfortable. I've never really had problems while kayaking or paddleboarding in terms of comfort. The foam is cut in a way that it's stepped cut and it doesn't crush my chest, which is really good. It just sits on top of it. Unfortunately, it is a bit bulky, so if you're not used to a bulky buoyancy aid, like I wasn't, you definitely feel it. And you can definitely see that my chest is quite a lot bulkier than it actually is. The other thing that I really appreciate in this buoyancy aid when it comes to feel is the toggles on the zip. So if you've been paddling out at sea, you know that even if it's a hot day, your hands get really cold and wet, but you can still access these zips really easily. The horizontal zips are easier for me when I'm getting something out really quickly. I can just get in there and get something out. And it's noticeably harder for me to get in here and get something out quickly. So if you haven't guessed already, there are a few problems with this buoyancy aid. I find that the chest foam is really bulky, and it has hindered my self-rescue on a paddleboard as well as a sea kayak. I initially thought it was just a strength issue, but I've done a side-by-side comparison with another buoyancy aid and without a buoyancy aid, in fact, and this is definitely a hindrance. So perhaps if you're a smaller paddler like me, who's looking for a buoyancy aid that is kind of multi-sport or multi-environment, this is probably not going to give you a lot of value for money, because I find that I've stopped wearing this for paddleboarding completely, and when I'm kayaking I'm very conscious that I'll have to roll instead of managing a self-rescue if I capsize. The other issue is that this buoyancy aid only goes up to a XXL, so if you are over 110 kilos, it's probably not going to be very buoyant for you, which is a shame, and Peak UK should probably think about adding more sizes. There are lots of reasons for me to keep this buoyancy aid, even though it doesn't work for paddleboarding necessarily. I do a lot of sea kayaking, and I still appreciate the pockets on this buoyancy aid for the sea trips, especially when I'm doing rolling practice out at sea or at the club. I find that I often forget to carry my nose clip or my earplugs or a cereal bar or a carabiner, so all of these things can live in here, and I know I'm doing rolling, so rescue practice isn't really a thing at that time. So I do appreciate some features of this buoyancy aid, but I know that it's not fulfilling the need that I originally bought it for. So overall, this is a great buoyancy aid. It fits me well. Yes, I think the sizing is a bit of an issue, because I'm not sure if this represents a size 10 to 12 necessarily. I think it's a bit smaller. It's very bulky, so if you're looking for something for paddleboarding, this is probably not the best buoyancy aid for you, especially when you fill up the pockets with loads of things. It's really going to hinder self-rescue, and I think that's a hindrance we could do without. I had originally bought this to replace my older buoyancy aid, which I use for paddleboarding and kayaking, and as I've hinted throughout this video, that's not going to happen for me, so I'll probably be looking for another one very soon. Thanks for watching Just One More Paddle. I hope that review was helpful and informative. If there's anything that I missed in the review that you'd really want to know, please let me know in the comments, and thanks for subscribing to Just One More Paddle.